Okay, next up is our color matching experience. So we're going to play with color a little bit to try and match the color palette of this class and the kit to the products that we have in our stash. So for everyone it will be different. It depends on what you have available. And I'm just faffing with my desk here. I've got a very small space that is available for the camera. So please excuse me if I go off camera sometimes, or I'm a little bit low on the screen. I started out that way, but I always try to kind of remind myself to move up again. It's a general problem we all have when we do videos. So I'm basically just showing you the color palette, and then what I'm doing at the bottom of this page, which you can barely see, is just trying to match it to that color. So take a look and focus your eyes not necessarily on my paper down below, but on how I'm selecting colors from my watercolor palette. So that's where your focus should be now, is how I select colors to kind of match things. So going into the orange, I started with red and then I watered it down a little bit, and I ended up, as I mentioned earlier, adding a lot of gray and then white to tone it down to the exact color that I see with my eye on the page. So for everybody's printer also, the colors you end up printing may also look a little bit different from mine, and that's okay. You just match what you see, because it's more about the brain activity of selecting colors and then matching them and mixing that color so that you get close to the end result that you want. And it's a learning curve. So even if you're a novice and you're just starting out, you've never done this before, just play around. It's a fun activity and it's already a little bit creative. And in the end, we're going to use that page and just snip it up, and you can stick it down in your hope book and you can journal over it and do fun things with it. I saved mine, so I trimmed it down from the A4 size to a little card so that I can use it or have it handy and available close by, and always have the colors in mind when I select things from my stash. So the things that I selected I already mentioned: gelatos and pencils and watercolor, and whatever you have. You can use your brush pens because they can be used like watercolor as well. Right, so just blending all of the colors. I had a little trouble with the blue, just getting down to that um, very light blue. It's very like a duck egg kind of blue, and so the gray does help tone it down and then lighten it with the white again. And then I went to yellow on my green, and it's more an olivey, very light green. And so you see me go more into a turquoise kind of green, and that brought me closer in the end. So the moment that I add more yellow, I go off track, or I go more to the brown side, and then I got frustrated with that color, and I decided, okay, let me start again, because my brain was starting to realize which colors work to get to the desired color. And that's what I want for you in this exercise, is just to play around with mixing colors and helping your brain get to that desired outcome. That's a lot like life. Life is like this, is we try and we fail, and just holding on to your hope that you will get there in the end. That's the attitude that you need. And that's why art is such a wonderful thing, to get us to that point of wonderful expression and of joy and of aha moment. Yes, I got it right. Or, oh no, this is a horrible fail. And then what I also teach my students is, when you get to do that horrible fail, I often fail in my art. And that's how I learn. That's how I you know, test out products and what I can do with it and how they respond to me, and which ones I like and don't like. And you know, if I do use a certain brush and it gives me a certain stroke and I don't like it, or it doesn't work for the artwork, then I can try again. That's why I like Printables so much, because if you print an artwork that you want to color, you can just reprint it if you make a mess. And what I suggest is, if you do make a mess, which is for a beginner, if you're a beginner, if you're advanced, then never mind. But if you're a beginner, then you can reprint that artwork and use the failed one, cut it up. Later on in our class, we will be doing another activity where we're just going to make a mess and a mixed media expression of art, and we're going to use that in making our tags. So use the failed artwork. If you do the face and it fails and it's not perfect, just play with it and add color to it, and stamps and lines and things and words. Make a whole mess of it, because in the end, what that means is that you are embracing the imperfections, and you're embracing the imperfections in yourself, in your efforts, the fact that you are not perfect and you're not going to get a perfect outcome always, because what it lends itself to is for your spirit to realize that you do need God, and that He is the one that is faithful, perfect in every effort that He has, and that He can bring the desired outcome. And that's why I always teach my students to get to that point where they bring the Lord in, invite the Holy Spirit into your art making. Pray before the time. Say, Lord, come sit with me. Teach me how to make my own art. God will always lead you to your best work if you follow your own thumbprint, because He gave you something unique in your thumbprint that's not the same as mine. And we can't compare each other's work and outcomes of our art, because you don't know where I've started, how much time I've brought to my art. I'll see you in the next video.